And welcome back to Primility Primer, our morning reminder of the power of balancing pride and humility as we go about our daily lives. This is episode number 61. I am your host, Jared Morris. And to begin this episode, I want to hearken back to episode number 57. It was last Wednesday's episode. And for that episode of Wisdom Wednesday, I talked about a quote from C.S. Lewis, which I said that I agreed with and I disagreed with. So, real quick to refresh, that quote was, "Pride gets no pleasure out of having something, only out of having more of it than the next man." And the reason why I disagreed with the quote is that it simply takes a more narrow and negative view of pride than we take here at Primility. It suggests that all pride is bad, when in the way that we speak about pride, it's really more that excess pride is bad. But what I liked about that quote is that I think it can be used as a signal, as an indicator of when our pride may be morphing into that excess pride that we don't right, or that we don't want, right? That vanity, that conceit, where all we care about, it's not, we don't get any pleasure out of having this thing. It's just that we have more than this guy over here. It's not a pride in something that we've accomplished. It's just having more than that person. And so again, it's vanity, it's conceit, and we lose that humility of viewing other people as people to cooperate with rather than to always compete with. Well, right now, I hope that you as a podcast listener are getting a little bit of a different sound with my voice. Certainly, if you're watching, you're seeing something a little bit different. I got a new microphone yesterday. And as I thought about this, I thought about how much it dovetails with episode number 57. Again, if you're watching, you'll see this, but if you're not, I have a new Heil PR40 microphone. I've got a boom arm here that's attached to my desk. I got the shock mount. I got the windscreen for it. I'm connecting it right into my H6. So hopefully this will provide a much better sound, get rid of a little bit of the echo that happens in this room, be a much deeper sound. Obviously, we have some work to do for the video because where the boom arm is, it kind of goes in front of my face and it creates these weird shadows and all of this, that, and the other. But that's not really the point. The point here is that I am so proud of having this new microphone and this whole new setup, because it certainly wasn't cheap. It's something that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and it took me a little while to pull the trigger on making the purchase. And when I look at this, and when I sit down now and when I talk in front of this microphone, and then when I listen to it and hear the higher quality, it represents to me all of the time that I have spent behind a microphone, creating podcast episodes, doing shows, because that's what this is. This is basically me finally saying to myself, you know what? I've put in the work. I've really worked to get better at this, to do this, to build different audiences, to do this the right way. And it's not like I've been doing it with bad equipment. I've had good equipment, but I've really wanted to get something like this. And now I've done it. And there's a real sense of pride in that, this pride in having something. But I could not care less that this setup might be better than someone else's setup. That thought hasn't even crossed my mind. And so this is where I don't necessarily agree with that quote from C.S. Lewis. There is a real pride in having this because I know the amount of work that it took for me to get here. But there's also a real sense of humility because, again, I realize the amount of work that it took to get here. And I realize that, obviously a purchase like this, I'm living with Heather. We have our finances together. This isn't the kind of thing I would go do myself. She's actually been telling me to get this more than I've been wanting. And I've kind of said, well, no, I don't know if this is the right time. And she keeps saying, do it. You've earned this. You deserve this. And there's a humility there. And I know that episode, maybe explaining that quote, it was a little bit difficult to, to kind of explain the particulars of it. And it just hit me as I was getting ready to record this episode. I was thinking about doing a different topic, but it just hit me that this is that primility of having something, right? When you've really worked hard to earn it, right? If you're just given things, then maybe all you really have to measure up is the quantity, and all you have to measure up is having more than somebody else. And I know that's not a completely true statement all the time. Some people are motivated by that, but I just think maybe in the long term, that's not the most productive way to be motivated, right? Just the simple idea of having more than something else. I think it's about really earning something and really looking at something and saying, I put in the time, I put in the effort, I waited, I did all of these different things that make having that thing so much more worthwhile. And you can really take a great sense of pride in it, but at the same time, you have a humility about it because it wasn't given to you. You're not simply just wanting to have more than the next person. In fact, you want to use what you have to help other people, and you would gladly let someone else share it and use it and all of that. So to me, this was just an illustration of the primility of something. And I'm ecstatic about this new setup. I hope that it delivers you better sound quality as we go through these future episodes, and certainly I'll try and figure out something for the video, because I know that's kind of the one downside to it is I know that what I like about doing the videos is not having any wall up between you, and obviously having a big boom arm in front of my face and shadows all over my face may do that. But either way, I'm proud to have earned this. I'm proud to have earned the right to buy this setup and to not feel at all guilty about it. And I will say this, by the way, I went and looked on Amazon for all the individual parts and pieces for this. And it was going to be, obviously it was expensive, but it was going to be even more expensive. And I found a whole bundle. I believe it was at BSW. I'll put the link in the show notes, primility.com/show/061, an entire bundle where I literally saved over $200 on getting the whole thing. So that's not an affiliate link or anything, but it'll be in there if you are thinking about getting a new setup for recording. That would be a great place to do it. So thank you for joining me for this episode of Primility Primer. If you have any other examples of this idea of the primility of something, I'd love to hear it. Something that you're really, really proud to have, and it doesn't make any difference that you have more of it than someone else. You've never even thought about it in those terms. You're just proud to have it because you've earned it, and you realize, the hard work and maybe even the shared sacrifice with someone else that it took to get it. I'd love to know those examples. Email me, jared@primility.com, or you can go to primility.com/show/061. We'll be back tomorrow with another brand new episode. We always are on the weekdays. Go to primility.com/join and get on our email list if you are not already. And we will talk to you tomorrow. In the meantime, stay cognizant of your pride and your humility, everybody. Wrist bump.